Perfect Dice is a unique dice-based deck-building roguelike which sees us traverse on multiple paths in a futuristic world filled with amazing art style and great soundtracks while we face off against enemies in a brilliantly designed strategic even chess-like combat system with one huge flaw. After numerous hours of questioning my own intelligence, seeing most rounds end in 3 battles, I cracked the code and can tell you if Perfect Dice is a real fun or a refund. With a handful of dice and cards, we see our main protagonist step into a typical roguelike map with a shop, upgrading stations, events and, of course, enemy encounters. With a combination of different dice, a turn-by-turn changing hit system and an array of cards activated by the dice, we battle against cyberpunk-themed opponents standing in our way to reach the end boss of the map in the search for the perfect dice. The combat system, even though visually quite similar to games like Spell Rogue, is an entirely different entity. So let's go into detail how this brilliant and yet frustrating combat system works. We have cards which are activated by dice rolls, and in most cases the number on the dice actually doesn't impact the effect of the card itself, compared to other games of the genre, since the hit number with which we activate the cards is shown in the hit number generator. Every turn we get a set of numbers which we need to roll to make the dice hit. If the dice lands on the required hit number, the card's effect activates. Woo! And the target number gets scratched off the board, while a different number than the target one's will miss. But this is where the brilliance of the game comes into play, since a lot of cards require a miss to be activated. Woo! This sees us build a varied deck with a good mixture of these types of cards as well as different dice, each having their own effect, but more on that in a minute. The numerous types of cards can have a variety of effects, with first and foremost simple offensive and defensive skills. The power of these cards, meaning the amount of damage a successful attack or the damage that's negated by the shield, depends on the energy of our character. This number is a fixed amount, which can be temporarily enhanced during a turn with one or many of the cards. These temporary energy buffs are essential to win fights and sees us make incredible uses of the character's unique ability, like saving the energy for next turn, keeping the shield up for one more round, or flat out increase our energy number by combining all target numbers. These abilities allow us to destroy our enemies with great combos, if there wasn't a huge flaw of... no, more in a minute. The cards furthermore can impact the next rolled dice, like the skill Sure Thing, my nickname in the early 20s, which guarantees the next roll to be a hit. But it requires that the initial dice misses, and if you're a bit confused, don't worry, I'm not even close to being done. Each dice has a special property or effect helping us hit or intentionally miss the target numbers. The blue die, for example, copies the number of an already rolled die, while the orange die rolls a number, and if it is a hit, the target number won't be scratched off the list. With a handful of different dice, a clever dice combination station allowing us to merge 2 dice into one, and the many different cards we pick up, we get to cleverly build a way around the most frustrating part of the game, the RNG. Since each turn sees us generate a new set of target numbers, we are at the mercy of the RNG gods every turn, with some turns giving us all numbers from 1 to 6 and a perfect way to plan our cards, while another turn sees us generate 2 sides of the die, giving us an awful chance to hit our targets. This system can be worked around with once we gain more cards and dice, but especially in the early stages of the game we are completely RNG dependent, seeing us picking the right dice and cards in a turn just to miss every single dice roll, having gained nothing during the turn. This RNG can outrage us as much as the enemies, since they have the same targeting system, trying to damage us or impact our next turn unsuccessfully with a handful of cards. They constantly miss or constantly hit. With this issue of an RNG based sword of Damocles, the planning stage of every turn can be stressful, since there might be one brilliant strategy to win the fight, which all goes to shambles once we miss. One way to guarantee our amazing strategy to work out is by visiting the challenge mode. This challenge mode has a bunch of riddles and special combat situations in store for us, requiring us to win in one turn, not taking any damage, and multiple other puzzles, which let us gain a bit more knowledge of the game's mechanic, as well as seeing us unlock more abilities in the progress sheet. Since I am not the biggest fan of puzzles testing my non-existent intelligence, I am much rather sum up the game and stay not smart. With its incredible art style, every movement and action being filled with amazing sound design and generally good music, the game's unique combat system is absolutely brilliant. If there wasn't a still overwhelming RNG-filled encounter seeing us lose a whole run due to us missing out 2 times in a row and our enemies hitting their target numbers like a sniper on roids. Therefore, I would say that Perfect Dice is actually a real fun, dragged down by the need to heavily randomize each combat, resulting in broken keyboards or relationships. Don't talk to me while I'm playing! Would you agree with my verdict? Let me know in the comments and don't forget to comb your hair.